Don't ruin your life. Obey the golden rule, the most important rule. The golden rule is by far the most important life rule, and it's the foundation for almost all other life rules and moral codes. This is probably the most commonly known version. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Here's a simple version in current vernacular. Treat others the way you want them to treat you. In one form or another, the world's religions and formal philosophies have the golden rule as the fundamental principle regarding acceptable human behavior. However, if you set aside moral considerations, you could convincingly argue that the basis for the golden rule is simply cause and effect. If you do X, the result will be Y. When your actions toward others are right or good, the cause, then they'll be inclined to do right or good to you, the effect. And the reverse is true. If you do bad things to others, they'll be inclined to do bad to you. The golden rule's positive effect goes beyond personal relationships. If the great majority of people in a society follow the rule, then generally speaking, the society will have prosperity and peace. If they don't, the society will have neither prosperity nor peace, and will likely self-destruct at some point. So on both personal and societal levels, obeying the golden rule can be viewed strictly as practical self-interest based on cause and effect, and not as a religious, spiritual, or philosophical matter. Some people believe in a specious exception to the golden rule. In other words, it sounds like a legitimate exception on the surface, but when you examine it more closely, you find that it isn't. This concerns punishing children. Children's minds, judgment, and moral foundations are incompletely developed. To instill positive mental and moral growth, parents must occasionally act harshly or punish children in ways that the parents wouldn't want done to themselves. This seems to be a violation of the golden rule. But is it? The answer lies in whether or not the parent applies the golden rule now as an adult, or applies it retroactively when the parent was himself or herself a child. Ask yourself right now, if you could change the past and never be disciplined or punished by your parents, would you? Unless they had parents that were abnormally cruel, almost all adults are grateful that their parents did whatever seemed necessary, including punishment, to teach them good behavior and values. In other words, looking back in time, almost all parents would want to be reasonably punished whenever it was necessary to control or correct bad behavior. Therefore, punishing children appropriately is not an exception to the golden rule. There is also a possible exception to the golden rule depending on the circumstances. Let's say you see a woman being physically attacked in a public place. Should you personally intervene to stop the attack? If you apply the golden rule, the answer seems to be yes, because if you were being attacked, you would want bystanders to do unto you in the form of stopping the attack. But what if the attacker has a weapon? What if the attacker is much larger and stronger than you? What if there's more than one attacker? In a situation like this, you have several options ranging from doing nothing to stop the attack, maybe even leaving the scene, to trying to physically stop the attack by yourself, putting yourself at risk of injury or death. In such a situation, what you do is a judgment call. Personally, I would want to immediately physically intervene unless the risk of serious injury or death was extremely high. Even then, I would attempt something to end the attack in the fastest, safest way possible. On the other hand, no one is morally or legally obligated to risk health or life for a stranger. This is especially true if you have children because your primary obligation is to them. The bottom line, in a case like this, there isn't an absolutely right or wrong response in terms of the golden rule. It comes down to personal choice and accepting the possible results. And finally, there is a legitimate exception to the golden rule, and it's one which most people understand intuitively. This exception is self-defense. If another person or group inflicts harm or clearly intends to inflict harm on you, your friends, your family, or your society, then you may act against them in a way that you wouldn't want done to yourself. For moral and possibly legal reasons, you should always take the minimum action necessary to stop or prevent the harm. Whether you're a religionist or a total secularist, in human affairs, the golden rule is the ultimate test concerning whether an action is morally right or wrong. You should do your best to apply the golden rule in your interactions with everyone all the time. Applying the golden rule can prevent marriage trouble, friendship trouble, employment trouble, financial trouble, legal trouble, and health trouble. It can even prevent premature death, a possible consequence of violating the rule with the wrong person. A final comment: in order to make the golden rule absolutely clear and less susceptible to rationalizing around it, I would state the complete version this way. Do to other people or entities what you would want done to yourself, and do not do to other people or entities what you would not want done to yourself. Here, an entity means a group, a business, a corporation, a society, and so forth. Behavior toward entities will be examined further in the advice regarding stealing.